Yeah, fair use. Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976 allowance is made for fair use for the purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is used permitted by copyright. Fair use is for educational purposes. I am not making any money. Yeah, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Barakatah Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakha HaKodash. I want to give all praise, all honor, and all glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakha HaKodash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and do well. To the elder apostles, bishops in Connecticut, the bishops, the preachers, the teachers, the evangelists, and the four winds preaching in truth and in sincerity, risking your lives more now than ever, the hopeful elect. The elect, Shalom, to the Israelite foreigners who phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel through your father and have come back to the fold. Shalom to your sisters, your akhwathiim, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence. This your brother Ram Yehuda with the lesson. Yeah, so this is a Business Insider Africa. Says Africa richest man Alko Gandu Gango Gangut Goat turns his sights to North America as he sells Africa to the Canadian Prime Minister. So Africa richest man Alku Gango, the president and CEO of Gango Industries Limited, recently held a high-level meeting with Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney on a potential of creating a partnership between Africa and Canada. Alkuk Dangote, Africa's richest man, meets with Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney to discuss a potential partnership focused on trade and investment between Canada and America. The meeting aimed at promoting strategic alliance to drive sustainable development, increase, industrialize, and create a new investment opportunities across Africa. Right? Yeah, because Africa has all these different resources and different things, but this dude is some sellout dude, which really this is a thing set up from the elite, because they bypassing America. You know what I mean? You just gotta, if you can look at that old thing with Abraham Finkelstein, the guy who spoke about the human meat being into McDonald's. He spoke about the way the game is really played. It's played for you to really own nothing and then be happy, right? So that's not a new thing, right? Because you could buy off, you could pay for your house, pay it off, so-called pay it off, but then you still owe land taxes. You know what I mean? And it's never really yours. And then he explained how if it never gets paid, they sell it to someone else, and so on and so forth. They keep it going, and then one property they're making money hand over fist every time because people are not paying their land taxes or anything like that. So basically, you own nothing, but you were happy. But now they're talking about putting further more restrictions, and then they don't give a damn about America, right? That's why this dollarization and all that other stuff that they're doing right now. Basically, they plan on America being wiped off the planet, man. Because these elites ain't thinking about America, right? Not to mention, because what do you think? Trump speaking out against his allies, right? Speaking out against the two neighboring countries that's closest to him that actually could trade with him. And then it leads where we could say, hey, forget it. So what? We don't care about the Straits of Hormuz. We could just trade with Canada and Mexico. We should be fine. We'll still be America. But not when he's completely speaking out against them. And Canada's basically like, I don't want nothing to do with you. But that's all part of a game, right? Because they pretty much do it, America, man. You know? Yeah, this is Revelation chapter 18, verse 2. It says, and he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, right? Which is speaking of America, which is the daughter of Babylon, right? Because, everything this devil ever talks about as being this great this and the great that and the great this, but in the great state of New York, in the great state of Georgia, in the great state of Florida, the great state of California, great state of Arizona, whatever, all these different, but it's Babylon the Great. But really, you install a great deal of wickedness, right? And that's why what is fallen, and is become the habitations, which means dwelling place, living place of devils, right? Which meaning what? Desert creatures, right? Doleful creatures. It tells you that. And it says, and the hold of every foul spirit and a caged and a cage and every unclean and hateful bird, right? Meaning like what do you call it? The eagle, the vulture, the owls, right? Desert creatures are going to be here, right? Devils meaning what? Lizards and things of those sorts, right? Because it speaks about what doleful creatures are going to be here. Yeah, because basically it's doleful creatures because the elite is finished with this place. They're done. They plan on this place being desolate. They know the prophecies, man. They know the missiles are coming to this place, that the chariots is going to assist in the smoldering, the Holocaust that's about to happen here, right? The what's it called? The ethnic cleansing, right? It's going to be a cleansing to this place, right? So it says, right? Because what? Race wars, famine, death, pestilence. Hey, the Lord, and the missiles is basically like a way of having a mercy kill, right? Because the land needs to have a land Sabbath. So this place is finished. The elite knows it's finished. So it says Isaiah chapter 13, verse 21, but the wild beasts of the desert, see, and this place is going to be hit with thermonuclear fire. It's going to become the lake of fire, and it's going to burn out, smolder out after many, 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 many years. And when it does, it's going to be nothing left but what? But wild beasts of the desert shall lay there, right? And that's what's going to happen. Nothing but wild beasts of the desert shall lay in this place, which is Babylon the Great, which is America. And their houses shall be full of what? Of doleful creatures, right? Different, like rabbits and things like that. Those are doleful creatures, right? In the scripture, it's called the coney. These are rabbits that lives like in the rocks, right? Little holes next to the mountains, right? These are rabbits that live near mountains and live near rough terrain. So the coney and and it says the the owls, right? You have the burrow owl, right? And they live in little holes underground there, you know. Yeah, that thing bugged me out when I first seen a burrow owl. Like, what the, you expect to see owls in the trees and different things, and not coming out of a hole in the ground in the middle of the desert. 'Cause, I live in Arizona, so we have burrow owls here. But I didn't. You know what I mean, I went a long time in my life before I ever seen one. But when I tripped out on it, and it says shall dwell there, and say Citries shall dance there. Hold on. Yeah. Oh, yeah, Salaki about that. Says Citries or satyrs shall dance there. Right? It says and the wild beasts of the islands shall cry in their desolate houses, and dragons, right? Lizards, different lizards and stuff. No, desert creatures in their pleasant places or palaces, and her time is near. So this proved this alliance with Africa and Canada proves that the time is near, because Africa is supposed to be linked with I'm gonna say all of Africa, but there's a great deal of other countries in Africa that's linked to the BRICS, right? I believe this guy that's signing this deal with Canada. I think he's for part of the BRICS nations. I have to look. I'm going to look it. I'm gonna look it up, see if he's part of the BRICS, right? Which basically shows that they're ready to. It's Esau, Esau ready to put by Esau, as the scripture says that the Lord put by Esau. But this place here, man, they're done with it, right? But ultimately the Most High is done with this place. This land needs to be at rest. So it needs to land Sabbath greatly, right? Because they shed the blood of the saints in this land, right? So it needs a land Sabbath, right? It says and dragons and the pleasant palaces, and her time is near to come. See, the end is here. That's proof. Shaking hands. It's in Business Insider, which you know what that is. It's an insider, meaning what? The elites. It's a thing. It's a telltale sign to the elites. So you think the whole thing with Donald Trump making it nearly impossible for America to thrive? You don't talk crazy to all your allies. That's crazy. Here you are. You're in a war with no ammunition. You're over there, hey, shooting blanks, right? So to speak, right? Well, realistically, yeah, And it says, and her days shall not be prolonged. Hey, see, not much longer. We almost out of here. Yeah. So this is Al Dengolt is a billionaire industrialist from Nigeria, right? Okay, yeah, see? Nigeria, right? Which is an official BRICS partner country, though not a full member. That don't make sense, but okay, but yeah. But basically, yeah, they part of the BRICS. Nigeria joined the BRICS partnership tire in January 2025. Okay. Yeah, but that's just the point. Yeah, because they're looking to change things, right? Done. So yeah, come back right here. This is Revelation chapter 18, verse 3. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. Right? Saying that's being America. So everybody's, people are pissed off. They didn't drink the wine, and it wasn't worth the punch. Right? It wasn't worth the turn around and bend over. You know what I mean? It wasn't worth it. The shame. The shame does not equate to the glory, right? Because that's what this place is going to have, a bunch of shameful spewing, and that's what the other nations are realizing. They have a bunch of shameful spewing for being attached to this place because they became one with the harlot. See, they're trying to find a way to shake it off, get away from it, from this harlot, right? The Babylon, right? The daughter of Babylon, the mother of harlots, Babylon, mystery Babylon the Great, right? And then once they found out, they were wroth, they were upset, wroth with her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, which means basically they were in bed with business. It's a term called being in bed business, right? Yeah, like right here, I just asked, what does the phrase in bed together mean? And it says the phrase in bed together or in bed with has both a literal meaning about sleeping or sex and a common figurative meaning about a secret or dishonest, right? And that's basically what America's been. It's been very dishonest in the business practices, right? Well, it tells you dishonest business, right? That's what they have. They've been very dishonest in their business practices, and then the other nations learned it. So now, I remember when Toyota used to be a very, very good car, especially when the original guy Toyota created it. But then later on, his grandson took over. I guess maybe he died or got sick or something, whatever happened. But his grandson took over. All of a sudden, because he's influenced by this American culture. So all of a sudden, the Priuses, a while back ago, the gas pedal was sticking. That ain't by accident. They were setting that thing up to be like that. The gas pedals were sticking, things like that. The cars were breaking down. Even these certain cars that were top of the line and what they used to be, like, Mercedes, BMW, they're not what they used to be, right? Because these people taught them how to do dishonest practices. Even, Ford's been building trucks forever. You mean you build a truck that can't withstand the pressure of the engine, and the rods shoot through the engine? So then you got to pay another $8,000 to $12,000 on top of that to get the engine what they call bulletproofed in order for the thing to work right. You mean that's an accident? What was that company? Peterbilt. They've been building diesel engines forever. You mean they couldn't build a decent engine that worked, that wouldn't do that? No, they were doing these things on purpose, right? Because they're done with America. They figured it, to squeeze some more money out you. They're basically they're getting the dregs of the cup as far as wealth, but they're gonna get the dregs of the cup as far as what punishment, right? I'm gonna have to get that because that's ultimately what they're doing. They're always doing the ultimate squeeze, and that's what this whole Strait of Hormuz is. This thing, and they're blocking, and they're gonna basically get the ultimate squeeze to where your character, your what's it called, integrity is gonna be put on the line. What kind of person you really made of? Are you really gonna buck up against the micro C hip? Are you really gonna take it, or how much they're gonna squeeze, and all of a sudden you're in bed with them, so to speak. As it says, Dishonest business, uh, dishonest business or political partnership. See, and the whole world has been in that, right? Yeah. So this says, yeah. So there was fornication. This is the whole, the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchandise, which things you sell, business, right? And the earth waxed rich. See, they got rich. Everybody got rich, you know, through the abundance of her delicacy, right? Hey, let's have fried food, and let's have McDonald's, and let's do this, let's do that, let's drink Coke, let's wear Levi's, let's just act reckless, let's just, you know, let man be with man and woman be with woman, and let's just, let's just do whatever. Let's live free, and for tomorrow we die, right? Because that's their sentiments, man. Right? It tells you that in was it I think it's wasn't a Solomon. You know what I mean? Because they're not looking for there to be a Most High. They're just looking for them to just to continue on. That's why I say, yeah, let's just build monuments and build statues about us, and we'll leave some BS history. We'll lie about the history. Columbus created this, and Mozart is actually an Edomite, and he's a so-called white man. And this person, the greatest man that ever lived the earth, right? Yahweh Shai. Yeah, he's an Edomite. He's a so-called white man. Everything they can do to try to put themselves on high. But look, guess what? At the end, all this thing is falling through. It's all falling through. Yeah, so this is Psalms chapter 75, verse 7. But the power of the Most High, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakal Kodash, is the judge. He putteth down one and setteth up another. Hey, see? And that's what happened, man. You had the Babylonians, the Medo-Persian, you had the Greek, right? You had the Rome, which you can't, that was you. The Lord, hey, man, that's crazy. You came, the Edomites were the Greeks. Then you were the Romans. You fell. The Lord allowed the Rome to have a deadly wound and then be healed in return. Hey, see? Hey, you got a great portion of the earth, a good time to rule, But now you're out of here, For in the hand of Yahweh, right, is a cup, right? So through his only begotten son, Yahweh Shai is going to come and implement that judgment. But, of course, Yahweh gets the glory, the credit, because, what's anything without Yahweh, right? It says, there is a cup and the wine is red, right? Being what, it says Yahweh Shai is going to come and basically stomp you people out like the wine in the wine press. And it's a thing called the blood of the grapes, right? Which that's a representation or poetic way of saying a lot of you are going to be, unalived and then, of course, put into chains, into slavery, right? Because that's what happened to us, right? And it says, and it is full of the mixture, and he poureth out of the same, right? Because that's what happened to us. So the same thing is going to happen to you, right? But the dregs thereof, right? The bottom, right? Because that's ultimately what even today, that's what you give us, right? Malt liquor is just the dregs of the cup, right? Some of these different liquors and wines, and even these champagnes and things, it's really the dregs of the thing. That's what makes it accessible. But even a lot of times you'll upmarket, right? Like what you call them selling that ace of spades. That's probably the bottom of that ace of spades, right? It's probably the bottom of that champagne. It's probably not the best, You had to get a so-called a black face, so-called, behind it, because it was probably filled the same way. But then they were like, well, how can we make more money off of this? Let's put a so-called black face on it. Let's pretend like they have this problem with one of the other brands, you know, kind of pretty much like they did with the Tommy Hilfiger, and then we'll put a black face behind this. Say, yeah, I don't buy that no more. We're gonna buy this, and I buy my own company, and we're gonna get behind it and do this. But really, it shows you. Look what they did to Diddy, man. Show you that these Edomites really actually run that whole thing. You know. So all of a sudden, he's got these charges and things because he challenged you in the court, in your courts, in your rulership, and won. Now he's all sorts of things, you know, which I don't know, man. But we do know that you're the devil, though, you know, for sure, you know. And you probably most likely you've done worse than that. You taught him how to be the dickler. You know what I'm saying? You showed him how to do that. You know, it's like you did. Bill Cosby. You know what I mean? I mean, his best friend was the dude from the Playboy, Hugh Hef. You mean Hugh Hef ain't never ever he ain't never seen Hugh Hef drop a pill in a cup ever? I guarantee he has. That's where he got it from. Jake don't do that. Tells you that the neighbors. Jake is more righteous than his neighbors, but they seduced him, right? And that's this place, man. But let me finish this up, because you're gonna do the same, and out of the same, right? But the dregs thereof, all the wicked of the earth, right, which is Esau, Edom, right, shall wring them out and drink them. Yeah. So this is Jeremiah chapter 49:12. It says, For thus saith Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakakadash, behold, they whose judgment was to not drink of the cup have assuredly drunken. See, that was us, the Israelites. It wasn't meant for us to go into slavery. It wasn't meant for us to be at the bottom and have these heathen nations to be over us. But we kept sinning against our power, kept showing them that a freaking rock was more important than him. So, hey, he put the basis of men over us, man. Right? And now we're to the point we have the basis of all men over us, right? Because all men are base. But the very basis, right? One who act like a child. You make decisions like a child, right? You don't even look at things in your best interests, right? Your whole thing is you hate Jake so much that you want to ruin your whole rulership just so Jake won't have nothing. But hey, that's a beautiful thing. I love that you hate us that much because, hey, the Lord, you're out of here. You're at your end, right? So, yeah, we surely get drunk of it, right? You're going to get the same. That's what it says. You're going to drink out of that same cup. Have surely drunken, art thou he that shall altogether go unpunished? So wait a minute. We sinned against the Most High, and we're the apple of the Most High's eye, right? We're the people who the Lord said that he had made a covenant forever, right? Not for a little bit, not for a time, not for a spell, not to say, here, I give you a little season to rule like he did you. Yeah, he should come out and deceive the world, but a little season. So your little season is over with, bro. And that's all that is. And you're pissed off, you know what I mean? But like the in the parable, when they started complaining about the people getting the dollar, those who came in last, and they were getting paid before the people who've been there a long time. He said, wait a minute, am I good? You're coming at me because I'm good? Like, you coming at me sideways because when I'm good? And that's the Lord. He did good to you. He allowed you to rule, bro. Are you still mad? Or them chicks be saying, Judite, oh, you big mad, huh? That should be making you more mad. That make you livid then, you know? But yeah, you can't go unpunished. Thou shall not go unpunished, but thou shalt surely drink of it. See, hey, you're going to go into slavery, bro. And this place is going to be a desolation, right? It says, for I have sworn, right? That's an oath. It's a promise he gave to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, right? Not to mention that the Lord is righteous. You know what I mean? He can't let you just go unpunished, because that would make him unrighteous. He would not be a God anymore. He would cease to exist if he can lie. So he can't lie. So he swore to make sure he won't lie, which he wasn't going to lie anyway, but he swore by himself, saith Yahweh, right? That Basra, right? So we could definitely call America Basra now because you're joining the military with Israel. So America is definitely Basra. See, through the spirit, we've always been saying that America's spiritually also known as Basra. But with you joining that military, it seals that deal. So what? Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, Yahweh. So what? It's like saith Yahweh, right? But through his only begotten son, Bahasham Yahushai, through his only begotten son, the Basra shall become a desolation, a reproach, right? All these nations are going to shoot. They're mad. The nations are mad at you, right? A reproach, a waste, and a curse, and all the cities thereof, right? From sea to shining sea, right? That's what you're bragging about, right? Manifest destiny from sea to shining sea, or from sea to shining sea, all your cities thereof shall be perpetually wastes, right? Done. America's done. It's going to be a desert, right? We said that. Doleful creatures are going to dwell in this place, man. Right? Yes. So basically, you're trying to wring out, everybody with this business and giving. But you're going to get wrung out too. You're going to drink the dregs of the cup. You're going to get wrung out yourself, right? For the power of the Most High Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai have put in their hearts, right? So La'ab is in the Hebrew is way say heart, which basically means mind. So their mind to fulfill His will, right? And to agree to give their kingdom unto the beast, right? NATO is going to start shooting missiles on this place, right? NATO is the beast. Until the words of the Most High power shall be fulfilled, right? Because what? This place has got to be a desolation. Something has to happen to this Babylon, right? Matter of fact, let's go up right here, because let's talk about NATO, right? It says, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, right? It's talking about America. They're gonna hate the whore, and shall make her desolate, right? And naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. That's talking about the missiles, right? So NATO, even your allies are going to shoot missiles on you, right? And it says, skipping back down to 18, it says, and the woman which thou sawest, right? Which talk about Babylon the Great, which is America. Sawest is that great city, see, which is Babylon, America, which reigneth over the kings of the earth. So at one time, still a little bit there. You got the apostle always bring it up about the hegemony, right? You're the bully on the block. You can rule and flex and make people do certain things, and you're the one who can push the sanctions and all that stuff. But then right now you've done it so much. Basically, it's not working. Nobody gives a damn anymore, right? So even your allies are basically coming against you, right? Yeah. So this is Isaiah chapter 13, verse 17. It says, and I will stir up the Medes, which is talking about Russia, that land where Russia's at. That's where ancient Medes used to live. So that's Russia. Basically, that's just that. It's Russia, right? And was it Ezekiel 38 explains that the chief prince, meaning Rosh, and then Shar, Rashar, basically Shar meaning prince, chief prince, Rosh, which is chief, Shar is prince in the Hebrew, because basically Russia is a Hebrew name, right? And that's what Russia means. Slacky if I'm kind of messing up on that a little bit, but just to give you some understanding to that, you know what I mean. So that's, because you could basically you could hear it if you go back. I'm not going to do it right now, but I've done it before. When you go into Ezekiel 38, you go to the blue letter, right? You can see it. It basically means chief prince. So that's Rosh, right? Which is chief, and then Shar, right? It's a prince, right? Because the same way you do Israel, which really it's Yashar Rala, right? Yah meaning he, Shar meaning prince, Allah meaning God. So Yashar Allah, yeah, so, but yeah, but that's going into what the Meeks, the Russians, which Russia is what? They're the ones who got that whole BRICS thing started. See, so it's showing you the BRICS is moving on. They're moving on without the American dollar. So we could deal with America, but it won't be the United States of America. We'll make the deal with Canada then, right? So you don't want to play fair. You don't want to play right. We'll move on. We'll move without you. And that's a big smack to the face, because Canada is right there. How many years America has protected Canada and things like that and helped Canada? But it said, the matter of fact, it tells you about how they will lay a wound under you, right? All this protection, all these things that America has done for Canada, and they're gonna move on like you've never done anything for them, right? It says, we'll stir up the Medes against him, which is talking about Babylon, America, which shall not regard their silver, and as for gold, they shall not, because America always made everything about money and this and that and trade and money. See, they don't want to lay in bed with you. You know what I mean? Russia is not going to lay in bed with you, right? They're not going to deal with your dishonest business practices, because they've seen what you did with everybody else. So they don't want your gold. They don't want your silver, right? Their bowls, which are the missiles, ICBM missiles, also shall dash the young men into pieces. They shall have no pity, which is the missiles, because missiles don't have feelings. Once they're shot, like the scripture said, who could turn them back? I mean, once they're shot, that's it, right? They're going to have no pity, shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb, right? Your women and children pregnant, which it's already hard enough to so-called get a white woman pregnant, especially with a so-called white woman with a white man, right? So-called white man, right? You guys are having a hard time, populating each other, repopulating, right? So, I mean, you should deal with one thing at a time, but your whole thing is you're everywhere, and you don't have enough time. So you're running out of time. You're about to be destroyed, and you're going after everybody, right? It says, it should have no pity upon the fruit of the womb. Their eyes shall not spare children. And Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, right? The golden cup, glory of kingdoms. The beauty of the Chaldeans, right? This is the beauty, the magnificent witchcraft and deceitful, deceitful lusts. Really, what you bring. It look good. It's alluring. It's beautiful. But this place, it's poison, right? Beauty of the Chaldeans, excellency, right? This place was an excellent place, but you know what you were doing. You're unfit to rule. Shall be as even, right, here we go, even as when the power of the Most High Yahweh Bashar overthrew Sodom and Egypt, showing this place is going to be a desert, and the elite knows this. That's why they're moving on. That's like a smack to the face to have them take the picture in the Business Insider, and they're moving on. Which Trump knows that too. He's all set up. It's all set up, right? Because I don't think he was a billionaire before he became president. I think this term that he's here now is when he became a billionaire in this term. Because I think he was a multi-millionaire. I think he was multi-millionaire, but he wasn't a billionaire. He became a billionaire under this term. Yeah, so this is Daniel chapter 7, verse 20, and of the 10 horns that were in his head, and after, and of the other which came up, before whom 3 fell, right, which would be with France, England, and Spain, right, being during the time that they basically warned for the so-called free world. Your whole thing, which what do you call it? Your manifest destiny, right? Which to now your manifest destiny is from sea to shining sea. You're going to be destroyed, right? You're going to be a desert. So those nations fell for you to become America, which is all in prophecy. So you're right on time for your destruction. So even of the horn that had eyes and a mouth speaking great things, right? And that's you. You all we're this, we're that. We're the ones who created everything, and everything you speak that America was created by so-called black people, man. It was ridiculous, man. Right? It's just ridiculous. You know, puffed up off of nothing, right? Whose look, right? So when you talk about, going into outer space, right? That was John F. JFK talked about going into space. What's the name? Baby George Bush, talking about we're gonna go to we're gonna smoke them out. We're gonna smoke them. There's weapons of mass. See, every system. Hey, this place has just been going down and down and down, right? There's no morals, there's no standards, there's no scruples, there's no integrity in these people at all, right? But hey, that's what you do. You want to speak great things, speaking very great things, man. Yeah, we're gonna do this, and we're gonna go to Iran, and we'll be back in 2 weeks, and everything's gonna. Nah, you're still there. But hey, I believe it's all part of the plan. Even this whole thing when you're talking crazy to the NATO alliances, right? Which is all part of. Well, it's all part of the Hashem Yahweh Shai's plan, because it said that you're gonna go against that they were gonna get mad with you, right? They're mad. These shall hate the whore. They hate you, right? So what is it? They're playing a game, as far as the elite are. But you regular people, you don't realize how much they actually hate you. You Americans, fat, out of shape, entitled, bro. They did not like this place, right? Whose look was more stout than his fellows, right? So you're supposed to be fellow, descendants of Europeans and this and that, but you go to other places and you act like you're better than them, right? So, and then Trump, like I said, Trump doing that whole thing with the, talking crazy against the, NATO, and then talking crazy against Canada and Mexico. And then now all of a sudden, Canada gets this deal with Africa. Bro, it's not an accident. It can't be. Not at all. Not at all. Right? The world is a stage. Hey, man, you have to pay attention. That's a smack to the faces of all you people. Because look what they did. He took the money that he was going to give the farmers and gave it to Argentina, and then on top of giving it to Argentina, so Argentina got paid twice. Argentina got to sell their soybeans to China, so they got paid off our money and then still got paid from China. You think that's an accident? And he's walking around talking about building a ballroom, and you simple red hat people are too simple minded to see that he just literally no Vaseline, pause, to all you, right? And you like it, right? That's why they say you're gonna have nothing and be happy, because look at you, you're too stupid. Why should they give you when you're that stupid, right? So with all that, I want to give all praises, all honor, and all glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakha HaKwadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders, the great millstone who rule well and do well. To the elder apostles, bishops in Connecticut, the bishops, the preachers, the teachers, the evangelist and the four winds preacher in truth and in sincerity, risking your lives more now than ever, the hopeful elect, the elect, shalom, to the Israelite foreigners who phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel through your father and have come back to the fold. Shalom to your sisters, your akhwatim, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence. And the Baba Ball, Kwame Sharala, we got next.